Thinking Game Podcast. Live. Men from Southwest making a podcast. Trying to reach back. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're full with us. Thanks for everybody who's supporting the podcast. We appreciate that. Thanks for everybody who watched the clips. If you would like to hear us talk about some things, let us know. We can make that happen. Thanks to everybody who fool with us, who see us out and about and say what's up. We appreciate that as well. If you're from Southwest, let us know. As you can see, we got the old McClellan field behind us. They done completely stripped the whole field down. It's over with. I don't know what they're going to put there now, but I hope they put another field right there. But, yeah, this got to rep, man, the old school, man, so I got to rep it. So thanks for subscribing. I think we had 200 and something subscribers, 206, something like that now. Shout out to everybody who's been subscribing on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I think we had 100. TikTok, I think we had 100. So thanks to everybody for showing love. We just growing a little bit at a time, and there's no problem doing that. But we really want to make sure that we giving out insight based on things that we grew up and how we grew up and try to pass it back down, because you can reach more people through digital streams and content than you can one-on-one. And they can always go back and watch it. So shout out to everybody who's been watching. So let's get into it. Our first topic is Jontay Porter receives a lifetime ban from the NBA after a gambling investigation. It's reported that he lost close to $2 million salary over a $22,000 bet. How crazy is that? You're making close to $2 million. Now, granted, this is not a top NBA salary, but it's better than a regular person's salary, when the average person is probably making $35,000 to $40,000, and he probably making $400,000 to $600,000 a year. And why would you ruin that over a bet that the most you can win is $22,000 and you're making six figures? And see, that's the thinking game of it. You got to be able to think about what you're doing. The more you can slow down and do that and be accountable about what's going on, the better off you could be. He gets a lifetime ban from the NBA. He can't do commentating. He can't do nothing. I don't even think he can even walk in the arena and shake somebody's hand. He's banned. Kind of like with Pete Rose from baseball. Messed up his whole career off gambling on baseball. He gambled on basketball. And they all say it's a sign in the locker room that says no gambling. Let me know in the comments, do you think he was crazy for doing this? Because a lot of times everybody has a vice. Everybody has things that they dealing with, a thorn in their side. But you have to have the sense to say, I can't ruin my career, ruin my $2 million salary over $22,000. It just don't weigh out the same. But let me know in the comments what you think.
It's always business, never personal.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
And why is it that when they approached him about it, he was quiet about it? And then it was also found out that a guy that he helped gave inside information to won 1.2 million, and he dimed him out. He ratted him out. Let me tell you something. When you're doing dirt like this, you better do it by yourself. Because when the feds come in and start asking questions, people start telling everything. You might as well say they're writing a life story book. So, the last question is, could this have been prevented, or was he already too deep? What you think? You think he was already in too deep? Because when you think about it, he wasn't a max level player or a top player in the league. So this kind of was easy for them to leverage a lifetime ban. And they had to make an example out of him. And sometimes you got to be smart about what you're doing. You really got to think about it, because that one, and I'm pretty sure this ain't the first time he gambled, but that one time he did, it cost him his career in the NBA. Like, I don't even know what he's going to do now, because I think he's 7 feet, 6'10", 7 feet. Like, what do you do when you're banned from something that you've been wanting to play since you was a kid? What's your next move? What's the thinking game in that? What does he do now? Or what can he do now? Because he got to find something else to do, because he can't play in the NBA no more. It's over. They banned him. So, let me know in the comments what you think about that. Let me know. So, with that being said, check my settings. Make sure I'm good. Yo, with that being said, let me know in the comments what you think. And also, I want to share this video while I'm waiting on my brothers to come in, everybody getting off work. But I want to share this with you. I want to see what you think about this. Let me know what you think about this.
So how do you actually help the people that you love without it being an enmeshment scenario? Like, how do you know what is actually helping someone you love and what is actually putting them at a disadvantage? Like, what is the difference between those two things?
Number one, I think the first keynote that you look for is this hurting me? Am I hurting myself to save them? That's always a no-no. Always a no-no.
I think this is something that a young person has to learn. The earlier you can learn this in life, the better. Because helping somebody, like she said, is it going to hurt you to help this person? Whether it's family, whether it's a friend, whether it's somebody you know that's in need, is it going to hurt you as a person?
And the second thing is, and this is a little more difficult to determine sometime, am I doing for them what they need to do for themselves?
Oh.
And you know how.
Now, this is another thing you got to be able to determine. It is a little tough, but as you get older, you start to realize, am I doing something for somebody that they could do for themselves? That line get blurred a lot, and you have to make that determination and factor and live with the decision after you make it. Sometimes you may not always get it right. You might not be 10 out of 10, but if I can get 6 to 7 out of 10, I'll take that. But you definitely have to make that determination in life. Am I doing something for somebody that they can do for themselves? As a young person, you have to learn that when you go off and be on your own and dealing with people on an adult level, am I doing something for this person that they could do on their own? Let's keep watching.
We make the distinction, helping versus supporting. When we love someone, we want to help them be better. But helping them keeps you tied to the outcome. So that if they succeed, chances are they forget all about you. And if they fail, it's your fault. That's help. When we learn how to support, and the distinction is when you're supporting someone, you do what they ask you to do, not what you think needs to be done. When you're helping, you do what you.
So, knowing the difference between helping somebody and supporting somebody. Like she said, when you help somebody, you're doing what they think need to be done. If you're supporting them, you're doing what they ask you to do. A lot of times this get blurred. Sometimes people think they supporting you, but they're really trying to help you. And some people think they're trying to help you, but they're really trying to support you. But you got to be really clear and on the same page. Because sometimes people use that word help as a way to try to manipulate you or try to have control over you. But you got to have that distinction to not allow that to happen in life, and be careful who you accept help from, because it can lead to open the door to other things that you don't want to go in, or lead you down a path you don't want to go down. So definitely understand that concept.
Distinction is when you're supporting someone, you do what they ask you to do, not what you think needs to be done. When you're helping, you do what you think they need. 9 times out of 10, if they didn't ask you for it or it fails, then they blame you and beat you up. And then you feel unappreciated, taken advantage of.
This is the tough part about helping somebody or giving somebody advice. If they ask you, especially if they come and ask you, if it don't work out, they blame you for it. I always tell people advice is just what it is, advice. It's not the answer. You as an individual have to make the decision and get to the answer. Sometimes the answer may not always be right, but what you can do is learn about the process of how you got there and think of how can you improve the process next time if that situation comes back around. But yes, sometimes when you're helping people and if it don't work, they will blame you for it. And you have to be able to take that across the chin sometime, or next time you're that person, like, you have to be real clear and concise. But let me know what you think in the comments.
Manipulated. Ain't nobody asked you to do that. Learn how to support people, which means do what you need, what they ask you to do, to the degree that it doesn't cost you more or hurt you more than you're helping, than you're supporting them.
But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about that in the comments. Helping somebody versus supporting somebody. Do you know the difference between the two? Or do the lines get blurred in life between help and support? And then another thing, you think about this situation. What if somebody told him you need to chill out on the gambling, you need to stop gambling, but he still do it? What do you do at that point? You keep telling them, dude, that's not a good idea. You probably need to stop doing that before they catch on. You probably want to stop doing it. And then he say, nah, I'm good. He keep gambling. What do you do? Because you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. You can definitely lead a horse to water, but you can't make it stick his head in the water and drink it. And if you understand that, life can kind of open up to you a different way. This young brother just ruined his NBA career. I'm just looking at it from an objective standpoint, off a decision that was made that could have made 22,000, but he was making close to 2 million, like a minimum salary or something like that. When it's regular people out here that ain't making nowhere near that it's people that's making less than 22K. So man, you gotta know, man. You gotta be able to weigh out the situation as best as you can, and make good decisions based on the circumstance and what's ahead of you. Because now he got to start from scratch, or he got to have something else planned, like a plan B. Because it's hard to get a $2 million salary. That's like a small percentage of people making that much money. But let me know in the comments what you think about that. Also, in the news, I think it was Bill Belichick. He is reported that he was looking for a job, interview with the Falcons, and the team that he used to play for, the Patriots, Robert Kraft. They say he was friends with Arthur Blank. They both on NFL teams. It was reported that when Bill Belichick interviewed for that job, Robert Kraft picked up the phone and called Arthur Blank and said, you may not want to trust him. You may not trust him if you hire him. You may lose trust in him. Somebody say some bad stuff behind his back. That's what's reported. Now the question is, does he owe Bill Belichick the solid to not do that? Or if he was telling the truth, was he wrong for saying that? Let me know in the comments what you think. This kind of stuff happens all the time in the corporate world. Somebody can just, smear your name, and it's hard for you to get something else. And it goes to show you that even all colors could deal with this. It's just some colors deal with it more than others, but everybody can deal with this, can get that kind of situation that they got to deal with. But I think Bill Belichick gonna be straight. It is kind of messed up that he did it, but that happens. And I don't know. It happens a lot in the corporate world. You'd be surprised how much that happens in the corporate world, because you never know who knows who. You never know who's friends with who. You never know who bump or run into each other. So you got to be careful out there. You got to move in a strategic way, and don't put yourself in position to where you could be like Bill Belichick. Okay, let's go to our next slide. So, you still want to travel? You still want to go overseas? This is a story that's developed. Well, it's been happening, but it's like it keep popping up. In Haiti, a guy named Jimmy Chezerier. I don't know how you say that. I don't want to butcher his last name. His nickname is Barbecue. They're calling him the homicidal gang boss and ex-police officer leading a Haiti uprising. Please be careful when you're traveling out the country. because you never know what you're running into. Let me zoom in on it a little bit so you can see it. Yeah, this guy nickname is Barbecue. Let me tell you something. A lot of times, these kids, they think they tough, they think they're hard because they live in the city. But I'm here to tell you that third world country hard is a little different than United States living in the inner city hard. It's a little different. It is. You see these guys are walking around in broad daylight with AK-47s. And the dude who's in front of them, Barbecue, is in front of them. He's leading them. So this is what I want you to think about. How crazy or how homicidal do you think he has to be in order for those dudes to follow him and do whatever he say? Because you think about this, it's only one of him, but it's probably thousands of those dudes that's following him. And you got to think about this. What does he have to do for them to acknowledge him as his leader? Think about that.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And what you got to think about is
allow nothing to be in your life that you cannot walk
going
out
to
on
these
30
countries
seconds
and
flat
not
if
knowing what's
spot that
going
you
on.
wanna
You just
go
trapped over there thinking it's sweet. You don't want to run into situations like this because these are the kind of dudes that don't care. There is no law like the U.S. In there. They are the law. They do whatever. And if you're not careful, you can get caught up in that and you ain't coming home if you could live through it. So please be careful when you're traveling to these countries. Understand that there is a level of risk. And sometimes the further you go in from the tourist attraction into the actual countryside, you can increase the percentages of something crazy happening, or you can decrease. But you got to know either one is going to happen. Increase or decrease the percentages of something happening. But it's all up to the choices and decisions that you make, hence the thinking game. And the last thing is, what do you think he had to do to get the name Barbecue? And for them to call him that. What do you think he had to do? Or what do you think he did to get that name? The news is claiming or alleging that he got the name because he will burn people alive. He said he got the name because he used to cook food and barbecue with his mom when they was younger. She used to have like a food truck or a food cart. He used to barbecue for her. But let me know in the comments what you think. When you have a name like that, in my opinion, I think you probably have done something or probably still is doing something. Because like I say, in order for that many people to follow you that's ruthless, and you have to have their respect or they have to fear you. One of the two. Mostly fear. Because some people respect you and still kill you. But when you rule by fear, they're afraid if they even try that, what's going to happen to them if the attempt don't work. But let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you think that they just making this up, or do you think this really happened overseas in these different countries? I don't know if Haiti's considered a third world country, but it's definitely close. It's pretty tough because I think they said that the food that they was being imported to them is being cut off. Their ports are cut off. And some people saying that they could be reported to some places in Haiti. They're doing cannibalism acts, like they're eating people because there's no other food source, or meat source rather. And I seen another documentary that's on Vice, places in Africa they do cannibalism in order to put fear in the people around them that they're not playing games. So they will eat human parts and organs to let people know that they're not playing around. And we in America, man, even though we know everybody not living, lavish and stuff, but to live in a country like this is pretty crazy. I think you'll realize real quick, I'm really not that worse off than, living in a place like that where somebody named Barbecue is running the country with gangs instead of having, they ran the prime minister out of Haiti. So think about that. Let me know in the comments. Would you go to Haiti right now? Do you think they just playing around the media? They just saying something, or do you think this is real? Even when you go to other countries, every country got some weird vice going on. Like you go to over in England, Netherlands, and stuff like that. It's crazy too. You go to what's it called? What was the movie Hostel? Over there, red light district. You get kidnapped over there. You get snatched up. Never get seen again. You go to these countries of Russia and places like that. You could mess around and get snatched up over there. Or get killed in the streets in broad daylight. You got to remember, what's his name just came home from the jail over there, the basketball player. So be careful when you're traveling out the country. That's all I'm going to say. Just be careful because you never know what can happen. And there is no law. There is no 911 to call. It's get it how you live. And if these dudes walk up on you, I just didn't want to say a name. I'll let you say it. I didn't want to say a name. But these dudes, what you gonna do if you in Haiti? Let me know to come. What you gonna do if these dudes walk up on you with the AKs out and you a tourist? Hey, Coco, come here, come here, come here, come here. He pointed at you. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Ain't a lot you can do. And if you try to jump stupid, you could probably lose your life. Trying to be tough. I don't know if you ever saw AK-47 bullet, but let me tell you. How big? Can you tell how big my thumb is? Those bullets are huge. And when they hit you, they tearing up stuff. It's designed to tear your flesh up. But like I say, man, be careful when you travel overseas. It's not just Haiti. It's other places too in Africa. You got places in, the Middle East. You got to be careful out there, man, because everybody is not like America everywhere, You think the U.S. is bad till you go out in places like this where dudes are walking around wishing you would say something to them. Even in Brazil, I watched active self-protection, something like that. Those guys will run up on you in a dirt bike. One dude driving, one dude sitting on the back. And they'll run up on you with a dirt bike, rob you, and drive right off. No problem. So you got to be careful going to these countries, these little third world countries. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. Let me see. And I want to share another video. Trying to wait on my brothers to come in. They probably be here pretty soon before we get deep into it. What was the other video I was looking for? So, also the title. The title of this one is our youth prepared to be an adult? That's the question. Is our youth prepared to be an adult? Sometimes when you always hear kids say, when I turn 18, I can't wait to get out the house. But the question is, are you prepared to get out the house and live on your own? It sounds easy saying it, but in real life, doing it is not that easy as you think it is. And as an adult, one thing I would tell you is, especially as a man, I don't know about women. Maybe we can get a woman to come on here and talk about this, but as a man, you can't just focus on one particular thing. What makes you successful as a man, in my opinion, is being able to manage multiple things in different times. It's hard to focus on one thing because you got bills, you got your job, your career, you have your health. If you have an apartment or something, a house, you got maintenance. Man, it's so many things you got to think about at one time, and that's if you're single. If you get married, you got those four things, plus your wife's personality, your kids, if you have multiple kids, their personality. Now you got to start thinking about school stuff, conferences, and stuff like that. Their health, kids and wife, their health. I mean, this could be like 7 things right there. You got to monitor how they're doing, looking at their personality. You almost have to sacrifice some of the things that you deal with about yourself, or you have to make sure that when you have time to take care of you, when they're at school or when wife's at work, you got to find those times to manage all of those things and see if you can do those things to make yourself a better person. So think about that when you're growing up. Like, are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to pay your bills monthly, annually? Are you prepared for that? Let me know in the comments. Are you prepared for that? What prepared you for that? For the adults, what prepared you to be an adult, to be a responsible adult? Let us know in the comments.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Let us know. So, what's what we're going to get into today? We're going to talk about, are our kids prepared to be an adult? What prepares a kid to be an adult? Let me know. What prepares them to be an adult? And pretty much, I think I tried to save some videos on TikTok, if I remember which ones they were, so we can try to do some reaction videos in the middle of doing slides and stuff on the podcast. Haha, let's talk about this one. This one's about Ray Allen. He was talking about greatness.
It's you're great. That's the minute you slide. And that was always for me. Somebody asked me, so when did you realize you were great? I said, never. I was like, never.
When you retired?
Yeah. I never sat back and counted my chips because I was always afraid that if I slid at some point, then somebody's going to catch up to me. Like, is somebody going to, and the thing is, I'm telling everybody what I do, working out. You can see it. It's documented. Can you commit to it? That's.
Now, this is a good video right here. I was trying to say this. Knowing that you're great, but not being overly arrogant about it, and then understanding that the greatness that you are, whatever you're great in, a lot of people are not going to commit to the things that you're great in. They're going to commit to the things that they're great in. And then there are going to be some people who are not great at anything, and they're great at hating on people. You have to realize that with success comes hate. Think about the most successful people. Is it the people that support them, they really boast of them, or is it the people that hate them? They keep hating on them on TikTok and Twitter. They keep them relevant. Think about that. LeBron probably got just as many haters as he has people that roll with him, fans. And you need both. You can't just have fans. You need the fans and the haters. And if you could get to that point, to understand that with success comes hate. Because not everybody wants to put in the same amount of work, but it don't take work to hate on somebody. It's just talking and giving your opinion. But not everybody wants to put in the work to be great.
That's the thing that greatness supplies us all, is the ability to find what it is that you can do well, but can you commit to it? Everybody in the beginning of the year is going to win the NBA championship. Everybody in the beginning of the year wants to make the All-Star team. Like,
Jay, what's going on, baby?
What's going on? What's going on?
everybody has these goals until it gets
Yeah.
it's hard.
What's that, bro?
Now, I was listening to Ray and what he said. When you think you're there, that's when you stop. That's when you rest. And like he kept going. Like he was worried about the competition catching up with him. People need to realize sometimes competition is healthy.
Yeah.
It's not. You don't have to hate someone to be their competitor. He wanted to stay ahead. He wanted to stay great. He wanted to stay valid in his field. He wanted to stay competitive. Being a competitor is not a cuss word. It's not evil to want to be better, to want to be the best. You know what I mean? And a lot of people got to realize that.
I think, though, it's two things, right? I think you have to realize that at some point you will decline. So you want to maximize everything at the peak level that you're in, wherever you peak at in your life. You want to maximize that level because you're going to decline. Nobody stays at the top forever. This is how it go. And another thing I think when you think about competition is some people, it's this weird personality that it's some people that will only do stuff if they feel like it's a competition. But if there's no competition, they won't do nothing. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense what you're saying, but it may not make sense to accomplishing your goals.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I'm saying like you like let's say like you think two dudes like working IT or something like that, and one dude he don't feel like he has to learn the ticketing system or something. All he gotta do is just click on the button and say it's done. But then another dude come in and start typing stuff in, really putting in elaborate, responses. And then the other person, now they feel like they got to do that now. But they never really crossed their mind to do that because they feel like they competing against it. And some people, they don't realize it's not a competition, but don't make it unhealthy. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Don't make unhealthy competition. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, where you're focused so much on the other person, then you're focused on your goals. But a lot of us pass judgment sitting on the sideline. Hey, that's competition is not healthy, this and that. Well, he's just saying competition, Ray Allen, himself is saying competition is his motivation. Make sure he's don't become average, that the regular average person doesn't catch up with him in the NBA. He wants to be elite. And that's what he strives for. Now, it's his motivation for him, and it's healthy. It keeps him at the top of his game.
I think he said, too, though, greatness to be great is a commitment involved. A lot of people don't want to be. They don't want to commit to being great. Like he was saying, his workouts are on video. You can see what he do, but ain't nobody gonna commit the same way that he commit. But that's the thing too. When you're younger, you have the discipline and the energy to commit to stuff way more than when you get older. It seems like when you get older, sometimes you really like, I don't know, I don't even feel like doing that. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta take advantage of those times. Go ahead.
So the time when you're young, you have the energy. You may not have the strategy, but you have the energy and the resources with the time.
Right.
You gotta try, like I said, you try to maximize that, and then you try to sustain it. You know what I mean? One of his motivations was to sustain was his competition level. Hey, these young bucks catching up to me, so I need to raise my game and let him know how much effort he needs to, how much more effort he needs to apply. You know what I mean? Because when you get older, it don't take no effort to work hard. You know what I mean? To get that 30-minute workout. But when you get older, you notice it takes a lot more effort to get the same results. So you actually, it seems counterproductive, but you actually got to work harder to get the same results. And then you got to even work even harder than that to grow. So it gets harder because the resources you had readily available when you were young aren't there anymore.
Bro, tell me what you think about this. Well, I was just talking about this before I looked at the rally video. Have you heard about this? The dude in Haiti, he run in Haiti like they call him Barbecue, Jimmy Barbecue. I don't know how to say his last name. Like, what do you think you got to do to get that name, Barbecue, man? People think that sounds like somebody on YouTube was saying that's a crazy name. They think it sounds simple. They don't realize to get that name, you got to do something probably pretty crazy to get that name. They're not talking about barbecuing pork ribs. They probably talking about barbecuing human ribs.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, even in the corporate world, sometimes you gotta do something drastic to set yourself aside. To be a leader, to be a trendsetter, that can be a good thing, or it can be an infamous thing. He had something to rise in prominence and get people behind him. But the laws in other countries are very different. You know,
ain't no law. Is it a law? Is it laws in that country?
I mean, the government is very different in a lot of different countries. So the things you say. The rights you have in America, you can't just assume you have those in other countries. Assume it's safe. You know what I mean? Just because
ain't no 911.
Just because the plane lands there doesn't mean it's safe. You know, so
boy, ain't no 911. I said these dudes walk up on you. What you gonna really do? You know, you a tourist. Hey, come here, Coco. Hey, Coco, come here. What you gonna do? And I was like, I don't know if people realize how big an AK bullet is, but you got to see it to believe it. And it's coming at you, man. Ain't nothing nice, man. It's pretty crazy. Oh, man. So tell me what you think about this, bro. I'll make it bigger. Hold on. It's probate season. If you was in a fraternity, who would you choose to pledge if you would have went to college when we was younger, like out of high school? Who you think you would have pledged?
I think all of the organizations with me, they stand on equal footing to me. But so that would be definitely hard for me to choose. You know, organization like that. You know what I mean? I'm not I never was a gang person.
Yeah, I know, right? Me too.
Myself, so I really couldn't answer that question because they're all great.
I know it seemed like personality wise to me. It seemed like personality wise, it's like they all have this. It's like a personality kind of trait. Some of them have like the Kappas, like let's say like Pretty Boys, something like that kind of deal. Omegas, they seem more rugged and rough. Alpha's kind of like a mix in between the two.
Yeah, and you know,
Sigmas is kind of like Omega. They seem like they dudes that I've known like that. They kind of like Omega too. Shout out to rest in peace, Do Dirty, because he was a Sigma.
RP brother,
bro, man. Yeah. And I think what the thing is like, do you want to go through the process? I know for us, I know for me, I put it for me. I always enjoyed being an individual. You know what I'm saying? Not being associated to stuff. It's fascinating that people fight to be free, to get out the house and be free, and then they go right back and attach themselves to stuff. You know what I'm saying? To be committed to stuff, like having to pay dues and go to meetings and stuff. It's something about being when you get out the house and you free. You don't have to do all. You just do whatever you want to do. It's not like you tied down. You know what I'm saying? So I
But
always thought that was interesting.
the discipline and dedication to be tied down to an organization that's greater than yourself.
Yeah.
It could be a good thing.
Yeah, it could be. We're gonna talk about that in a second.
It could jumpstart your, social life, get you in rooms that you would not normally have access to. You know what I mean? You're going, you're being introduced to a new world, a new network. You know what I mean? And that could be really the key. And especially if you are thinking about the African American fraternities. Maybe you say African Americans, especially males, aren't the friendliest people to be in with a group of professionals. Everybody's in college, hopefully goal driven. You can meet some interesting people. And to speak on the personality types, I've seen a rough, rowdy Kappa, so-called pretty or fashionable Omega. I've seen it. Like I said, I've seen it all.
I'm thinking more percentages, like a 60%. Of Kappa's probably like pretty well. Yeah, for sure. It's like all kind of gambit of them. Sure.
Of course, the door. The stereotype. Most of them are going to be this, and then they'll fall in stereotype, and that's what they go for. You know what I mean? What you get is what you see, but you're always going to be. You can be individual even amongst those prominent groups.
Yeah, because there are pros and cons. Like we talk about the pros, the networking. You have the connections. I think they do a lot of mentorship. Like if you go to, like we was talking about not having a strategy, you may meet an Omega or a Kappa that kind of reminds you of you when you get older. He could probably mentor you on some things, put you up on game. Because the thing is, the cons sometimes not is like being associated with something. When it's going good, it's good, but when something crazy happens, because you associated with it, people associate you with that as well. So that's something you got to weigh out the options.
Yeah, you got to take the good with the bad as well. Yeah, and it's individual choices. You know what I mean? Yes. You know where to go, and you know those your brothers or whatever who are up to no good and troublemakers. You know what I mean? And you're tempted by that. If you go into that temptation or you be in those stereotypical bad situations, things are going to happen to you and the group you associate with. You know what I mean? Yeah. But there's always going to be those brothers that are going to be trendsetters and doing good stuff in the community. So, like, you choose. Like, we went to a rough high school. You know what I mean? You can choose to be who you want to. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's tempting to go this way. But you have a choice to do those things or not to do those things, So you got to keep that in mind. Even though you join a group, you can go with the crowd on that, or you can kind of stand alone in the group and use those, get those benefits without the negative side effects.
For sure. Yeah. And before we get off of this, I got to say shout out to Uncle PG, man. He was an Omega, and then. Man, them dudes are so cool, man. And we wasn't even in the fraternity, man, but they would talk to us like we was. They was real cool, man. So, man, he gave us a safe space, kept us out of a lot of trouble in our 20s, man. So shout out to PG, man.
And it's not. I mean, of course they're gonna do their fraternity stuff, but they were mentors to young black men themselves. They were enriching the community. Not just in their fraternity, just all men, boys, especially in general. You know what I mean? Just be uplifting and positive. And it was very good to see that positive side from those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Really appreciate it. That changed my life, and just being around positive male role models doing something good and showing you the right way to do some certain things. So
then when you see dudes that big, it make you think like, do I really want to cross the burning sands, or do I really want to go through the process? Do I trust this process? When you got a dude that, let's say, Big Rich, look like what was the dude that played for Vince Wilfork? This dude like Vince Wilfork. Coolest dude, he laughing and everything, but do you really want this dude to pledge you in? Man, he definitely gonna show you some love. I'll say that. He definitely gonna show you some love.
I mean, it's about trust and brotherhood and things like that.
For sure.
I only can talk about the things I know about.
Yeah. All right, next slide. See, I make this bigger because it's too small. Top 5 things youth needs to know to be prepared for college. What you think about that?
What are my top 5?
Yeah, your top 5. You can give somebody, what you think, John? If I need 5, what's 5 things I need to know to be ready for college or prepare myself for college?
It's so many layers to this one, my first statement. So I'm going to use the word management, self-management, because you are the boss of you. You don't have a parent and go to class, do this, do that, especially if you're living on campus. You pick your classes. You go to your classes. You choose when you do your homework. You choose to do homework at all if you do it. And if you not do it, it's all of you. Time management is very important. Resource management is important. Time, things like that. You're going to have the opportunity to do a lot of good and positive things. Some things you want to do, some things you don't want to do. Managing those things, what you do and what you don't want to do, is very important. You're there. You know what I mean? This is your first taste of adulthood, and I understand you don't have the maturity, you don't have the experience to be managing these situations that will directly affect the rest of your life. These decisions you're making in this college, whether you drop a class or you struggle through it, you take the C or the D, or you go back for the A, this stuff is going to affect you in your 40s. And you're making these decisions in your 20s, sometimes as young as 18. So management is a big piece of, and it's self-management, because it's your time, your finances, your energy, your money, your sleep. The things you eat, the people you hang around, how much fun you have. You're in charge. And those things aren't just like, I'm going to do what's best for me all the time. Well, sometimes what's best for you, it doesn't please you, but it serves you. It's going to serve you in the long run, but it doesn't please you. You got to learn how to differentiate those things. I would say that management, self-management is like number 1. Planning is number 2. But everything goes back to that first thing, self-management. Just deciding, because management is planning. Planning your classes, trying to see after college, because that's going to be your motivation. That goal, whatever it is for you, that's going to be on the other side of that rainbow. That's going to be your motivation, because you're not going to go to class. The teacher's going to be old and ugly dude. You know what I mean? The class ain't going to be fun. That ain't your motivation. You know what I mean? Just to get another A. You've been making A's all your life. Some of y'all. That's not really motivation. Maybe it's the money. Maybe it's the prestige. Whatever. Remember in your planning, number 2, remember your motivation. I think it's silly, but it works for a lot of people. Make a vision board. Put your little dream job up there. Put yourself doing that job. It works for you. You know what I mean? When you want to sleep in or do this. And go back to management. Your free time. Manage that. Have fun. Go have a drink. Go to a party. Don't burn yourself out. And so this all goes to management. Number 2 is planning. I think every one of my 1, 2, 3 goes back to management, like managing your emotion, your love life, and stuff like that.
If
Because
you just want to do a top 3, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So there's self-management, planning, securing resources, taking care of your mind, and body. Like walk. You're gonna be sitting down in the class a lot, and you're gonna be walking the class. That's all the exercise I need. Watch your diet.
You do gotta watch your diet for sure.
Stay in tune with. I mean, I hate. Seems like I'm getting to God later, but He's perfect. You're not.
Yeah, it's true.
You got to manage yourself. He's always going to be there, and He's always going to be right. He's always going to be strong. So you need to make sure you get you together and in line with Him. So God is definitely in my top 5. Your spiritual health and your well-being will protect you, and use your discernment when joining organizations or picking your classes. Anything, you can use God, or your spiritual life or your spiritual health is very important too. So
that
was a lot, but that's kind of
it is a lot. It's not an easy 5. I know for like you say, man, learning discipline, like self-control, like you say, discipline, and you learn those things. Some of these things you learn in high school. Learning how to be efficient, like what classes can you take, and can you efficiently do it? Because if you could do it, if you could do 3 classes efficiently instead of trying to do 5, because you're trying to get done early, just do 3. Just stay at 3. You know what I'm saying?
Planning,
yeah, exactly.
Manage your expectations.
Right. Understand, like you say, with health, understanding your health, like putting yourself in healthy situations. Like like you say, if you know, like knowing your genetics, your genetical code, right? Knowing what kind of genetics you are. Like if you're tall and slender, if you're short and husky, like if you're sitting down at a desk all day, you don't need to be eating snacks. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like when you do that, the weight, it seems like it just add on quicker. It's weird. Something about sitting down and eat snacks. It adds on quicker. So you got to be mindful of that. You know what I'm saying? Your genetics and stuff like that. What would be that's 3. 4 is handling your business, like staying on top of your financial aid. Staying on top of your paperwork, anything that needs to be done. Hey, we need you to do this form. Yes, get that in. Staying on top of your scholarships. You got to get on that. Even now, I say 5 is understanding using tech. You need to learn how to use a computer at this point in your life. It don't make sense not even to have one now. You probably need to get a laptop, figure it out, and learn how to use it to make your job easier. Because writing on paper is going away. You know what I'm saying? It's going away.
Trying to physically waiting in line in financial aid office to physically turn in a form.
Yeah.
Is kind of crazy when you can use a resource and submit it in a timely fashion any time of the day or night before that midnight deadline. If you submitted that, it counts. Whether you overslept and you didn't get to turn this form in, you gotta use the technology and the resources that you have available to your benefit.
So the next question is: does high school prepare you for college classes?
That's a tricky one. Yes and no.
I don't think so.
Some of them, I do. And the fact is because you go to school, in high school, it's an 8-hour day. You get there at 7, you leave at 3:50, no exceptions. Class after class after class. You get a lunch, it's so structured and it's so crammed, subject after subject. But when I liked only having class Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and that was considered a full schedule. I can take them. I can be done by 12. And that can be 12 hours. I can be done. Start at 7, be done by 12. So that's easier. Picking what you want, like your English, having only one English or one history class, or having only one math class. That's easier. Writing the paper. In certain instances is easier. Now when you get into your major, I thought that was easier. Like that first part was easier. I didn't like writing papers, but Mike thinks his major, when the classes get really specific in what you want to do, he thinks that portion is easy. I think the first part of college is easier than high school.
You think so?
Yeah, for sure.
I think the scheduling is easier, but I think it just depends on what you like. I think it depends on what you like. To me, core classes, and that's what we talking about being efficient. I didn't understand that when I was younger. Getting those ACT scores, I didn't realize why you need to take the ACT until I tried to go back to school. And now you in there trying to take this compass test. It's insane. And to get up to speed, because if you don't take the ACT, you don't start out in English 1. Even if they even let you start, you got to go to the compass room and you got to get up to that point. You know what I'm saying? And being efficient, if you got to take what's the little remedial English classes? If you got to take those classes, you got to pay for them, but they don't count towards your degree though. It just gets you up to English 1. You got to know that. You got to know that kind of stuff. You know,
you've been in college for 2 years and ain't got 1 credit.
Boy,
you're taking
for real.
Beginner's reading. You know what I mean?
And if you spend financial aid on that, guess what? That takes away from your total financial aid that you spending. It takes away from all that.
Because it's going to take you 4 years to get an associate. You know what I mean? And that's very discouraging when you figure out you need these classes to get the other classes. They're prerequisites for you to get the classes, and you realize in 2 years you've done nothing towards your degree. That's very, very emotionally discouraging, and you've been trying your best. You're struggling in beginner's reading or intermediate reading, but you need
they'll probably be on the list too.
Comp itself.
Staying committed, I think that will probably be one of the things too. Having the ability to stand committed to the path. A lot of times people go to college and then they just like, nah, I'm done. I'm good. But learning how to stay committed even when it ain't comfortable, you know what I'm saying? I think that's understanding that part of college, the journey of college. Even in the apprenticeship or being like a real estate agent, you have to work for somebody before you can go off on your own. And you have to work up under a broker for so many years. It's just how the game go. Apprenticeship, you got to work under apprenticeship for so many years before you can become a journeyman. So, and that's just how the game go. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing you can really change or negotiate. That's just how the game go. The rules are. So our next topic it's a corporate topic. Is do not discuss your salary with anybody under any circumstances. What you think about that, bro?
It depends on the state. Because, emotionally, personally, you know what I mean? You can develop haters and things like that. Some states have laws to protect against retaliation about you receiving negative or discipline from the organization you work for because you were discussing pay. Some states protect you from that. Some states don't. So know the laws in your state. You know what I mean? Because you could get together and raise the pay for everybody. Or they're not going to raise the pay and everybody's hating on you because you make more or less. You know what I mean? And it's a real bad feeling to train somebody who makes, you know what I mean, $10 an hour more than you.
Yeah. And I'll tell you my story because when I worked at the ISP place, I messed up by doing it. I thought I was helping people because what happened was when they hired me in as a contractor, they was paying more. And then after a year and a half, 2 years, they was hiring people in. They was probably giving them half of that or a quarter of that. I think it was maybe half. And I was telling them like, dude, they're actually railroading y'all. They should be giving y'all more. But I was just shooting myself in the foot. I was telling them, man, they paying me this much. You know what I'm saying? It's like, huh? And I was like, and then what ended up happening was, like you said, it was a mixture. It was people that was like cool, and there was people that was like hating, like, man, how this dude getting this much? You know what I'm saying? And then it got up to management. I don't know how it did. People just started talking. and when they got to those, I think I lasted like almost 3.5, something like that, 3 years. But they ended up laying me out because my salary was too high. They didn't want to pay me. That's what one of my homeboys told me. They said in the meeting,
of course,
they had to lay me out because they didn't want to pay me that much money. You know what I'm saying? So,
and you didn't take the low ball deal.
Yeah, and you get the haters like, man, if I was you, I'd have took the low ball deal. Yeah. You ain't never made that much money. It's like, man, if I'm working here and making that much, and then y'all trying to get me to take less, it don't make sense. Like, you can't make it make sense to me. It just didn't work.
Yeah,
but sometimes you got to bet on yourself.
But the life was like, well, you lost the job in the end of it. You know what I mean? But you stood on business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you didn't take, you got paid the max for a couple of months. You know what I mean? Instead of getting paid sometimes for like 5 years, and at the end of the day got to end or whatever. But
everybody got.
Everybody got the can. The company ended up going. Yeah. So if you would have settled for a company that was going under anyway. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't tell your salary. Just leave it. Just let people wonder what it is, because it'll end up biting you in the butt. Like you said, people will hate you, or people gonna like you, or they.
It can go either way.
Either way, right? 50-50. You go either way.
Just avoid the drama. Mike saying, "Hey, avoid the drama." That's your business.
My wife said, you got to admit you was arrogant too. And she was right. I was. I mean, I was super arrogant. So they kind of played a part in it too.
Mate, but you leave it alone.
All right. Check this one out. The thinking game split decision. Is the outside culture more powerful than a home upbringing culture?
That's a weird question to answer. Like, is your ability to adapt stronger than your fundamental learning and things like that? And
okay, what I'm saying is like your home values. So what you're taught at home, your values and stuff like that, is the culture outside of there. What you learn, is it more? Do it seem like kids take on the culture outside the home more than what's inside the home? Because you remember when we was at Dunbar, the gang culture. Was the gang culture more powerful than the home culture?
In a negative way, yes, of course.
Okay.
In a positive way, you gotta. The more you learn, the more you gotta adjust and adapt. If you got a parent that was on a 5th grade level and they instilled in you some good good spiritual foundation, good lessons, but their experience only goes up to 5th grade. So when you gain that knowledge, you got to be able to adjust to the world. You know what I mean? So you got to learn. It's a balance in it, but when it comes to negativity, violence, crime, you definitely got to stay away from that and not let things that are trending negatively affect you. But it does all the time. Kids value fast money versus working hard on the 9 to 5.
I think it depends on where you live, though. Like, I think the culture is like where you live. Like I was telling wife, being in Southwest, depending on where you lived. Like, I know being over there on Chico and stuff, and being just growing up around hustlers, pretty much. You saw that in Southwest, like on Chico, you saw a lot of hustlers, and most kids in that area value hustlers. Versus being over there on 65th, you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit more rugged over there, you know what I'm saying? So, man, some crazy dudes come out of 65th, man, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty crazy. Like, sometimes, different times, man, it's pretty crazy. Because you think about some of the dudes we grew up with, like even at Dunbar, it seemed like some dudes we knew came from good homes, but the culture was so much, I don't know, it's like it captivated them than the actual home culture, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you gotta adapt and survive. You gotta blend in, to your environments. You know what I mean? You can come from a two-parent home, you know what I mean? But you don't get picked on if you don't got the gangster nights or you don't wear a certain color. You gotta adjust to survive, and that's just in the corporate world. You know what I mean? You see, hey, you say you make more money. You gotta dress better. You gotta wear different suits. You gotta adapt to the culture so that you're around. That can be a positive thing or a negative thing. But you gotta with you say keep your same spiritual footing or moral footing that you were taught from your parents, and that's what you're going to preach to your kids. And we go to church, we believe in God, things like that. Your interests may change, but your core personality and your beliefs won't.
Yeah, then you can also teach them from things you learn by the culture that you grew up in, teaching them some of the pitfalls to look out for, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think some parents don't talk about those things. Like, it's easy to just talk about going to church, stuff like that, but telling them about the things you did before, like, dude, your dad, used to sell more dreams than a car salesman. So this is what you need to look out for, you know what I'm saying?
And
stuff
exactly,
like that.
With that as well, a lot of times we try to shield them. From things, and we don't teach them how to defend or handle those type of situations on their own. So now they're going to experience them, but we keep those things from them. So when they get in the real world, that'll be the first time that they're experiencing them, and they're not prepared to handle those things by themselves.
Yeah, for sure. And our next slide is knowing when to realize you're at a crossroads of changing paths or continuing down the same path. I think this is like one of them life things. You got to know when is it time to switch or when is it time to stay on the same path. When is it time to do something different?
And that's a very hard thing, because you think I need to stay consistent. I need to keep the faith. And I need to keep working hard. But you're working hard going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it seems sometimes when you give up to go in another direction or start over, it seems like it's a lack of faith. You're torn. Like, is this gonna work? Is this what really God is teaching or telling me? Am I a quitter for taking another route? That's something you gotta
I think if you did everything, that you could, I'm just saying in general, if you did everything that you could and you did, and it don't work out, and it's probably time for a change, I think, for me anyway, I don't think it's that I don't think it won't be that bad, because I've been there. Just like, I did everything I could on this path. It ain't probably working out, it ain't going in the right direction, so I probably need to, do something else, or it's probably not going to end well, you know what I'm saying? So, definitely been there a couple times in life. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, when to cut your losses and salvage what you do have.
Not saying it ain't going to hurt, not saying it's going to suck,
yeah,
but you got to know when to cut them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, speaking personally, I got a child, I got a son, and I had a wife, and we had a divorce. So that hurt. There's something you didn't want to do. Maybe this is against God. Like, what do you do in this situation? But you got to know when something's running its course, and you did everything you could in your heart and your mind.
Exactly.
And you have to salvage stuff, because it's stuff more important than your feelings or your relationship. You got a child that you got to develop, mold, and teach. And they got to grow from this situation. They got to learn. They got to see you being resilient, going on, being peaceful, making the right decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes they don't feel right emotionally, but you got to. It's your responsibility to take care of the child and to take care of yourself and to honor God as well. You did what you could, and sometimes that's all you can do. You can't control
that's for
person.
real. That's real.
You can't control the situation.
You took it right out of my mouth. Yeah.
Tell your boss not to fire you because you're a good person. Things are going to happen. For
sure. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, as a brother, I know you did everything that you could do, man. So that's what I'm saying. And it's just sometimes with people, man, everybody don't look at things the same as a life perspective, or they just haven't got to that point yet. And that's why I always tell my wife, getting to those points, some people get there quicker than others, you know what I'm saying? And because I was telling somebody at Euler, they was talking about marriage, and I was like, can you get to the point in your head that when your husband talk to you, he's not trying to offend you, he's talking to you for your best interest. He's not talking to you out of spite. If you can get to that point and realize that, things will get better for you. But if you're stuck at that point that if he tell you no, you feel like he's being mean to you, you're not at that point yet. You know what I'm saying? And I said you got to
Because
get to those little checkpoints in life. You know what I'm saying?
and because his best
Yeah.
interest is your best interest. Your best
Exactly.
interest is his best interest. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? He's the most happy when you're happy. So making you
Yeah.
happy makes him
Yes.
happy. You know what I mean? And it's just like a thing like that that you kind of, you know, have to understand. You know what I mean? And then when it comes to emotions and maturity levels, there is no right or wrong. I wasn't right. She wasn't right. She wasn't
Right.
wrong. I wasn't wrong. It's not a
Right.
right or wrong who did this and
Right.
who did this. Those
About
are
making
feelings.
sense. Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Cake tastes good because it's got sugar in it. You know what I mean? And it's just not
Yeah.
like that when you're dealing with people's emotions. Because you can look at, well, the reason side, well, it would have been better if you did this and been better. But how did you feel? You know, you got to talk to God. You got to answer that question. And you got to look inside your heart and what makes you happy and what's best for you and spouse, child, or their business, their organization, any chances or risks you take, you got to look at that.
Yeah. And I would definitely trying to get one of these slides right. But yeah, I would definitely, you got to know when to make a move. Sometimes you can't get stuck. Sometimes people get stuck and they try to keep trying to force that circle peg in that square hole. You got to realize that, wait a minute, I'm hammering a circle peg in a square hole. And especially as an adult, the quicker you can get to that point and understand that as an adult, the better off I think, you know, things will be. But that's just my opinion, though.
I mean, it's always going to be good on paper.
Yeah.
People
right.
always say the argument, who come first, your wife, your mom, or your kids, or this. We can all make reasonable decisions on the reasons why this is good. Or reason, well, I'm doing it just because God said it. Well, it makes sense to me to move it like this. You'll know it's easy on paper, but then when you're living it, you know what I mean? Ask a divorced person, are you going to put your husband or your mom first? A divorced person will tell you a totally different thing than a newlywed. My husband above everybody. Newlywed, divorce, like, you know, it's totally different. It's the same people,
right?
But at different points. So the
points
different
in their life, right?
Gives you different points of view.
Yep, so, that's true.
Because newlywed, I ain't never going to be divorced. I ain't never going to do this, and I ain't never going to do that. Keep living.
Yeah, keep living. Yep. It's all about mindset.
It's easy to be that person that you want to be on paper, or it's easy for him to be that man or that person on paper. You know, he a deacon, he this, and he that. So, you know.
What am I doing? What am I just do, man? Trying to go to this next slide, but I don't know if I just unshared it. Hold on, give me 1 second. What am I doing? There you go. All right, let me go here. Give me 1 second. I don't know why it's acting like this. Okay, here we go. Share screen. This, that. All right. Pick one. Tell me who you got. Best movie comedian, John Candy or Bill Murray?
That is personally very hard for me.
It is. My wife said if she saw that, she's like, hey, that's actually really hard. Because they both crazy in their own right.
Yeah, I mean, I just like, man, I love Bill Murray, probably in everything he's in. You know, his comedy is really good. But growing up, watching John Candy, Uncle Buck, ain't nothing he did that I didn't like. But, you know, I mean, I'm going to do it like, I'm going to let the characters speak for itself. So I like Peter Venkman over Uncle Buck, Peter Venkman of Ghostbusters, and I loved him in Groundhog's Day. I'm probably going to go with Bill Murray. But I really loved John Candy, though.
Yeah, I like John Candy, too. Uncle Buck was a family vacation when he ate that big steak. He had all that steak at one time.
He just had a big body of work.
Yeah. Bill Murray, though, man, dude is like the comedy movie version of Tom Hanks, man. He got a way of just making the part just something. The part is written on paper, but he got a way of making it come alive, like Stripes. That's one of my favorite movies. Watching him in Stripes when he joined the army or something like that. Yeah. I mean, dude, that movie probably was a born movie on paper. They probably didn't plan the movie to be like that. Dude made the movie what it was, you know what I'm saying? Life Aquatic, another movie, like a low budget movie, but dude just make the movie crazy, you know what I'm saying? He was in Ant-Man.
There's a lot of his reactions is what I would say or what I would be thinking.
Yeah, for sure. And they both played in Stripes. That's what makes it funny. They both joined the army, and they cut John Candy out. Dewey Oxburger, I think that was his name. But yeah, man, them two dudes is crazy, man. Last slide. A lot of kids been going at Dave Ramsey on TikTok. Why? I don't know, but they have. So he said, is Dave Ramsey right by saying live off less than what you make to get ahead in your finances? Is this possible to execute for regular people, everyday people? Like if you make $30K living off less than what you make $60K or $90K, that's probably like regular people's salary.
And you know what I mean? It's harder. The lower it is, it's harder. Yeah. But it's really the challenge to do it is harder.
Yeah.
When it's higher, like making $90K and living like you're making 60 or 30, it's mentally hard because you think you deserve. I make $90K. I deserve this car. I deserve this house. I deserve these things. And I deserve them now. I don't want to wait. I don't need to wait. I deserve them now. And then, especially if you have a family, it's not even a selfish thing. My family deserves this. My wife deserves this. My kids deserve this. And it's hard. They deserve the $90K lifestyle. And I'm doing them a disservice by making them live a $60K lifestyle. And that's how it feels emotionally. But you're setting up their future. If you live in a $60K life, your son or daughter might not have the best toys or the best clothes. Your wife might have not the best car, but she's going to have the best retirement. Your wife's going to have, your kid's going to have the best college fund. So you got to choose now or later. But guess what? Our hip hop society get you somebody that can do both. Save but that's not real. That's not where a lot of us are in life. So it's easy. I want both. I want to live. I want to save, and then I want to spend crazy as well. I struggle with that. Myself, my budget. Y'all don't even want to see my account. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I struggled with it so much when I was younger, man. It just kind of laid over too, cause like I say, cash cars. Always love cash cars. I had to pay the car note for so long, trying to have all cash cars. It's just some people out there that think they always got to have a new car. You don't. You can buy a car and pay it off and just get the maintenance fixed on it. You know what I'm saying? But some people think, well, I get a new car, I get a new warranty, but you paying $700-800 a month, man. That's crazy. Man, it's like a mortgage, y'all. Man, it could be a mortgage.
But guess what? I make the money to do that. So just because you make the money doesn't make it the right decision.
Right, and that's the thing too. With kids,
you can afford $1,200 a month for a car note, and you get two of those. You can afford it, but is that still a good decision, a good investment? Well, you just saying you just talking like that because I'm just talking like that because I'm on the lower end. You know what I mean? And partially true, but
I think I learned my lesson early. In life. When me and my wife talk about all the time how we learned our lesson early in life. And now, man, we be cutting corners like a mug, man. Like budgeting, man, just learning that kind of stuff when you're younger. If you can learn that early as you can, that's wise to do. Learning how to budget and look at the money. Like if you're not careful, the money you make, you putting it right out at the end of the month. You ain't got that much left because you're paying nothing but bills. You know what I'm saying? So you want to try to have as much extra as you can after paying your bills if you can ever figure that out.
And when you spend up all your money on payments and things like that, you don't really have time or the resources for the vacations. So your regular life is spectacular, but the weekends are boring.
Yeah, it's gonna suck. But yeah, guys. But let us know in the comments what you think about that. What you think about the budget? You think Dave Ramsey? You think Dave Ramsey on some other stuff, or you think that can't be done by regular people? Can't be done, but you got to be super disciplined. Some people, once you get to that place,
your credit gets better. You know what I mean? Living just beneath right there. When you stretch your things, you know what I mean? You stretch your credit as far as if they'll finance you for it, you will get it. You can finance for the max. You're stretching, things. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, for sure. Then like financing a car for like what 84 months is crazy, man. The value of the car won't even last that long. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
by the time you pay it,
you sound like you're hating.
I'm telling like somebody that went through that. What I'm saying. Oh man.
Hey, at least you don't look like what you've been through.
Boy. All right, guys. Last slide. Thinking game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for hitting that subscribe button. Thanks for hitting that like button. Be sure to check us out on Thursdays as we go live around 6 or 7, depending on what time we get off. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's about it. And thanks for helping us grow. Like we said, we can reach more people through digital form than we can in a one-on-one form. So thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Anything you want to say before we sign out?
Thanks. Appreciate it.
You want answers.
All right, guys. We are signing out.